Welcome back to the deep dive. Get ready, because today we're diving into the Cosmeno realm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it should be a fun one. You guys send in some excerpts from their cultural guide,
Mm.
and it's called Habits, Customs, and Co's.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, this thing is dense. It's part educational, part festival guide, part who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating though, isn't it? Just how in-depth they go to document all these
Oh,
like
yeah.
really specific cultural things.
It's like they want to share it with the universe.
Right. It's not just some boring rule book or whatever.
Yeah.
You really get a feel for how they see the world.
Totally. And you know what really stood out to me? The access classes.
Mm.
It's like they've taken everything.
Uh-huh.
Like literally every subject you can imagine.
Mm.
Fitness, music, self-defense, gaming,
Oh.
and turned it into this, like, lifelong learning program. But it's also entertainment.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's not just about learning a skill, you know? It's like they're encouraging people to push their boundaries and just explore life from every angle.
Yeah, and they get pretty deep, too. I mean, they have a whole access class called Life's Other Side, dedicated to
Oh, yeah.
death and the afterlife.
Heavy stuff.
I know, right? Makes you wonder what they believe happens after we die.
Yeah, I mean, from these excerpts, it's hard to tell. But I mean, I think just having a whole class about it says a lot.
Totally. Like, these big questions are just ingrained in their culture.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's the Cosmeno Heritage Access class, which is all about their own traditions.
Oh, right?
It's like they're balancing looking outward at the universe with looking inward at themselves.
Oh, absolutely. Like, we're open to exploring new things, but we also value where we come from.
And that idea of balance,
Yeah.
like it comes up again and again in this guide. You see it in their more listing rites, which is kind of like mindful living, but with a Cosmeno spin. Consuming more good stuff, healthy food, positive thoughts, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And less of the, well, not so good stuff. Processed food, negative emotions, you get the picture.
It's so interesting how they link physical and mental health together like that.
I know, right?
Makes you wonder if it's all about this holistic view of health, you know? Or like, are they trying to achieve some kind of spiritual balance?
I'm leaning towards holistic. I mean, it reminds me of all the stuff we're learning now about the mind-body connection.
Yeah,
But it definitely seems tied to their rituals and ceremonies, too.
for sure. It's not just about the individual. It's like they're trying to align themselves with the whole cosmos.
Oh, that's a good point. And speaking of rituals,
Yeah.
we got to talk about the cheer giving. This is where things get really interesting.
Okay, lay it out on me.
All right, so they describe it as a performance, but it's honestly so much more than that. It's like this whole theatrical production
Oh, wow.
with costumes and characters. They have the cheer giving group, the Rexley, the speaker.
What?
Yeah. And they use these cheer giving mints
Yeah.
to actually act out past, present,
No way.
and even future events.
Hold on. So it's like they're predicting the future through these performances.
It's almost like ritualized prophecy.
Whoa.
It's wild. What do you think the purpose is? Is it just entertainment, or is there something deeper going on?
Honestly, I think it's a little bit of everything. It's like they're processing their experiences,
Right.
you know, sharing their worldview, and maybe even trying to glimpse into the future all at the same time.
Fascinating.
And get this, there are different types of cheer giving. Back viewing, now viewing, out viewing, trend viewing.
Wait, hold on. Run this by me again.
So back viewing is all about the past. Now viewing is the present.
Okay.
Out viewing is future predictions.
Oh.
And then trend viewing is like looking at new technologies and stuff.
So they're really engaging with the concept of time here.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere. And speaking of which, these cheer-giving performances are often tied to bigger events like their farewell rites.
The farewell rites.
Yeah, and that's where we see how the Cosmeno realm deals with death, which gets pretty profound. Oh, I bet. So it's not just like a typical funeral then.
No, not at all. It's this whole blend of philosophy, celebration, and, believe it or not, entertainment.
Wow, that's a really different way of looking at it.
I know, right? It's like they're embracing all the emotions that come with saying goodbye. And it's not just a free-for-all either.
Uh-huh.
They have all these specific roles. Moon's Audubon elders, the farewell announcer,
Wow.
and even a Phil orator who, like, brings in these philosophical, sometimes even funny, perspectives on life and death.
That's so interesting.
And get this, they have dress codes
Of course they do.
with specific colors,
Mhm.
like dark green, blaze flow. It's like each element has a deeper meaning tied to their whole understanding of death.
I was wondering about those terms. What do you think they represent?
Well, I'm thinking darkery probably represents mourning, the sadness and all that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then maybe blaze flow symbolizes like the continuation of life or something.
Oh, that's a good point, especially because they incorporate out viewing and trend viewing.
Right. Those future-focused, cheer-giving performances, even in their death rituals.
Yeah, so maybe they do believe in some kind of existence after death.
Possibly. It all ties back to that theme of balance we were talking about.
Right.
Even in death, they find a way to acknowledge both the dark and the light.
I love that.
Me too. It's beautiful in a way, isn't it?
It is. You know, it's amazing how they can shift from something as serious as the farewell rites to something that's more about celebrating life.
Totally. Like, it's not all doom and gloom, you know?
Right.
And that's where their hospitality comes in. It's like their version of hospitality, but amped up to 11.
Oh, yeah, I was just getting to that part. It's fascinating how they make it a whole experience.
Yeah, it's not just about the food.
Right.
Although the food descriptions alone had me drooling.
Tell me about it. Dine dip. Come on, that sounds amazing.
Oh, no. It's like a seasoned tomato dip, perfect for, well, dipping.
And what about that mash dish? Seasoned mashed potatoes. Who doesn't love that?
Classic comfort food. And then there's offal, grilled and mashed sweet veggies. Sounds healthy and delicious.
Definitely. And their drinks are interesting, too, like Flav Water and Flav Fizz, keeping it simple and pure.
Yeah, so it all connects back to those more listing rights we were talking about, valuing natural stuff.
Oh, for sure. But the real kicker with hospitainment is the entertainment factor.
Oh, yeah, they go all out. Live music, dance splash,
Yeah.
even dress codes.
It's like they've created this whole mini world of fun within these hospice spots.
Right. So what do you think? Are these hospitainments primarily social gatherings, or are they meant to be more like culturally significant?
It's got to be both, don't you think? I mean, people are coming together, eating amazing food, celebrating, but it's also a way for them to like really showcase their culture, you know?
Yeah, like a microcosm of Cosmeno life.
Exactly. And that ties into the Realm Fest, their big celebration that seems to be like the ultimate expression of Cosmeno culture.
Oh yeah, the Realm Fest. That thing sounds epic. It's like hospitainment times 1,000.
From what I've gathered, it's got everything. The food, the cheer-giving performances, and probably a bunch of other stuff we haven't even covered.
Plus, the guide mentions souvenir sellers. Like they're even thinking about how to preserve the memories.
Wow.
Right. It's like they're inviting the whole universe to experience their world.
And speaking of connecting with the universe, we got to talk about the Cosmeno Catchagram, their own radio network that broadcasts from these key cities they call Lokis.
I know. This blew my mind. It's like their version of global media, sharing news and culture with everyone.
Pretty impressive, right? They have such strong traditions, but they're also clearly connected to the wider world.
It's like they've cracked the code, holding on to their heritage while still being part of something bigger.
I think you're right.
And the range of programming is wild. World news, community talk, all kinds of music.
Oh, yeah. They mentioned EDM, urban pop, even some religious content.
It's like they're saying, come one, come all, let's talk about everything.
Very open-minded.
You know what I'm realizing as we go through this? Music is like the backbone of Cosmeno culture.
Totally. It's everywhere.
It's in their rituals, their celebrations, even their mourning. Like, remember the Senti hits played at the farewell rites?
Oh, yeah. And don't forget the house high beats music during the Rex Chief's reception.
So many different styles.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if they have specific types of music for specific events,
Right.
you know, like certain instruments or rhythms.
That would make sense, right? And they're big on dancing, too. The guide even mentions house high moves.
Oh, yeah. It's like they see music and dance as inseparable.
It's not just about listening. It's about moving, expressing yourself.
And it's not just limited to special occasions.
Right. It seems like a part of their everyday lives.
And it makes you think this emphasis on music and dance, does it reflect something deeper about their values?
I think so, yeah. It shows a real appreciation for the arts, you know? And maybe an understanding of how powerful creative expression can be.
Not just for entertainment, but for connecting with each other, expressing emotions, maybe even tapping into something spiritual.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it brings us back to that theme of balance again. It's like they've found the sweet spot between tradition and innovation, between celebrating the individual and the community.
While still staying true to themselves, you know?
Exactly.
I'm particularly intrigued by the Rex Chief's reception. Like, it's clearly rooted in tradition, but it's also a way for them to honor their leaders in a modern way.
It's like they're saying, we respect the past, but we're not stuck in it.
It's finding meaning in tradition and making it relevant for today.
That's a powerful message.
You know, going through all this, it really strikes me how important community is to the Cosmeno realm. Like, it's not just about these big events. It's woven into everything they do.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like built into their whole social structure. You
Yeah.
take their moon Zodiborns, it's fascinating. They've created these groups based on, get this, shared birthdays.
Wait, what? Like everyone born on the same day?
Well, not exactly. It's people born under the same zodiac sign, A and D, sharing the same weekday of birth.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like this instant bond, this kinship.
That's amazing. So you're born and you already have this built-in group of people who understand you in a way.
Exactly. It's like having a support system from day one.
It makes you wonder how it affects their society.
Right. Like, do they celebrate birthdays together?
Probably.
Do they lean on each other during tough times?
It's like having a ready-made family.
Yeah, and it ties back to what we were talking about with death, too.
Oh, yeah.
Remember how the moon Zodiborn elders and loved ones play such a big role in the farewell rites?
Right. It emphasizes that communal support again.
Like, even in death, you're not alone.
Powerful stuff. And this sense of community goes beyond just family and friends, too.
Oh, you're so right. Think about their access classes.
Okay. Yeah.
Imagine taking a film access class with other movie lovers. It's not just about learning. It's a shared experience.
Like a film club, but way cooler.
Totally. And it's not just for fun stuff either.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the offstage access class and the passing access class?
Yeah. The ones about politics and conspiracy theories and, death.
Heavy topics, but they're tackling them together as a community.
That says a lot about them, don't you think? Like they're willing to have these difficult conversations.
It's like they know that talking about these things, even if they're hard, is important.
Especially when you do it together with people you trust.
And that's what's so inspiring about the Cosmeno realm. They value both individual growth and the well-being of the community.
It's such a great reminder that we need each other,
Absolutely. Connection is everything.
It really is.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm kind of in awe of this Cosmeno realm,
Me too. It's been a journey.
They've found a way to blend tradition and innovation, individuality and community, and they have this really holistic view of life that includes both joy and sadness, light and darkness.
Yeah, they don't shy away from the tough stuff.
And there's so much we can learn from them. Their focus on lifelong learning and being mindful, on the power of community, these are things that resonate with us even here on Earth.
Absolutely. I mean, the Cosmeno realm almost feels like a glimpse into a possible future for us, doesn't it?
Totally. One where technology and tradition can exist side by side.
Yeah.
Where we celebrate individual expression, but we're still deeply connected to each other.
And where learning is a lifelong adventure that we share with each other.
Exactly. So, as we leave the Cosmeno realm behind for now, I'm curious, what part of their culture resonated most with you?
That's a tough one.
I know, right? There's so much to unpack.
Yeah, but I think it's their approach to community that really stuck with me. The way they support each other, learn together, and celebrate life and death as a collective is pretty amazing.
Me too. And it makes you think, how can we bring a little bit of that Cosmeno magic into our own lives and communities?
That's the question, isn't it?
Food for thought, my friend. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.